So when I first start up my peppers and tomatoes, in the solo cup here, I usually start off by putting 2 or 3 seeds in here just so that I, have a good chance of germination success. And usually what I end up with is, 3 successful little seedlings starting in one container. So I usually have to either, just cut out 2 of them and keep one, or try to up pot them, into another solo cup container. But because that's gonna, double the amount of space that it's gonna take up, if I just, put this 2 extra plants into 2 more solo cups, then I've just taken up, 3 times more space. So my plan is today is to remove the 2 extra seedlings out of here and, just leave one in the solo cup. And my plan is to try putting all these extra seedlings into one seed snail that will only take up this much space. So let's get one rolled up. So this is what I'm going to be using to do my seedling snail. This is some foam wrapping paper that I received something in. It was wrapped up in a bag made out of this material. I cut it into strips, and as you can see, the strips are a lot shorter than you would normally use for a seed snail. Usually it's about 30 inches long, 36 inches long. But my thought was, this was how big the bag was that I cut up. So this is all I had for the length. And because I'm only going to be planting up about, I think, 6 or 7 peppers in the seedling snail, I don't think I need a super long one. So we're going to lay this out, place some moistened soil on it, and start pulling out some of our seedlings here very gently and see if we can get them going in the seedling snail here. So I have some of my pre-moistened soil here that I have added a bunch of water to, and we will probably maybe give it another spritz before we roll it up. If you haven't seen my other video that I did with all the flowers that I planted up, I go into more detail on how to roll these up, how to get your soil, what kind of soil to use, and all that kind of stuff. So you can check out that video as well to get more details. If you've done any of this type of transplanting using the seedling snail, I'd like to hear about it, because I am a newbie and I'm really excited, and I'm hoping that this is a successful way to up pot some of my seedlings, because I have a whole swack of petunias that, a sheet of them in a 72 cell thing that I need to spread out into something else. And I'm just looking for ways to save on space. So I'm hoping that these little seedling snails are going to be my answer. So you kind of want to make sure you got about an inch or so of soil that you're going to be rolling up. I kind of top it down. It just makes it a little easier to roll up. Okay, so I am going to be laying my peppers on the bottom here. This is where they're going to be, I guess, the top of the snail. So I'm just going to kind of get it ready so that I can start laying them out. We'll see how easy it is to pull these out without doing any root damage. I did wet them down so that they should come out easily. I'm just going to try to gently pull. I'm reaching in there and grabbing the dirt along with the plant, and I can kind of feel the roots giving way. Want to try and make sure I have a bit of a root system here. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but we'll see. We'll see how tough these peppers are. I've never up-potted them before in this manner, so I want to be able to bring up as many roots as I can. That one looks a little bit better. I'm going to put them, I don't know, about 2 or 3 inches apart from each other. Now this guy will stay in here. First, this is a King of the North green pepper. I mostly do sweet peppers, so I do have a few different varieties here that I'm putting all into the snail, so I'm going to probably lose track of what they are, but once they're out in the garden, as long as I know they're in the sweet variety, I will figure it out later. So we have another King of the North here. So again, I'm just going to go down with my fingers and try to grab as much of the root as I can. Again, I think I got a pretty good chunk of root there. I got some rainbow peppers here, which again are just a different variety of sweet that comes out in different colors. I'm just going to pull these two little ones out. Try not to do any root damage. So it looks like I'm going to end up with just 6 peppers that I am putting into my seedling snail here, so that's not too bad. And the other 2 are jalapenos. They're hot peppers. So I might just put those in their own snail, just not to get them mixed up. So again, I'm just going to spread these out. I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see what I've done here. Probably could have fit more in here, but I've got them about 3 inches apart. I'm just going to put a little bit more soil on the top just to kind of secure those roots. I'm going to pat them down. So what the seedling snail does and why this, works is because you're coiling it up, it's keeping the roots from each of the plants separate from each other. So they're not going to be competing for space or getting all intertwined. They'll each have their own little long, narrow path to send their roots down into. That's the theory anyway. So hopefully this works. So I'm just going to give it a little more moisture here. Just sprinkle on some water. Spray bottle would probably work better, but this is my only watering container I got out here in the garage. Okay, so we are going to start the rolling process. I'm going to tuck in that root, work everything. It's like rolling up a burrito. Slide it towards you and keep rolling. I just kind of brush away the dirt at the end here. I always like to try to pack it in the bottom here. Just give it a good push in there to kind of hold it in place. And then we're ready to secure this. I'm using tuck tape or carpet tape, I guess it is, to secure. This has been working okay. You can use elastic bands or string, rope, other kinds of tape. I think this should hold. Okay, so then again, I just try to do some packing at the bottom before I get it in place. Okay, so I think that worked out pretty good. They're not really, you can't really control where they're going to end up in the roll. Like as far as spacing, it kind of looks like there's some gaps here and there, but I think, this should work out okay. So because I'm going to be bottom watering these along with my peppers that are in the solo cups, I'm just going to use this 4 or 5 inch pot here to hold it in place, and so that I can use this tray. Keeps it in place. So now we have 6 pepper plants in one container like this, and then we got the 4 original ones here in my solo cup. So you can see how much space this is actually saving here on my tray, and I've got all the space over here to produce more planting. So this is my first time doing this. I really hope it's successful and that I can keep these peppers going just in the snail until it's time to plant them outside. Since I have the space, I might take all three of these out of here, just leave one in a solo cup and take out the second one. And that way I'll be putting 4 into the snail, kind of using all the space that I have there, giving me more space on my tray for something else, because I haven't started planting tomatoes yet. And I know I always have way more than I need, and I love trying different types of tomatoes. So if I got more space, then that's just going to really make me want to try more and grow more. It's going to give it a little more soil. Put it over there. Again, I'm just going to spread these out. Give it some water. Okay, we're just going to start tucking and rolling. This time I moved my seedling down a little bit further so it's not right at the beginning, not in the very center, which I'm not sure if it matters really, but try to give them as much space as I can. Oopsie. Okay, we're ready for the tape. Kind of lost a lot of my dirt here at the bottom, but I'm just going to ram it in there, pack it in. As long as there's enough space, we got about 6 or 7 inches that these roots are going to be able to go down into. And again, I'm going to just use this 4-inch pot to set it up. And there you go. And then you can just kind of tap down the soil around each little seedling. And just kind of secure them in there. And hopefully they are going to be happy. I'll show you again what it looks like. So there we go. We have taken, a tray full of solo cups that was almost filling this whole tray, and now we've downsized it to half a tray. So I got a whole half a tray here that I can start some more seedlings. Maybe I'll be potting up some of my petunias. I can throw them in here if I can get a bunch of these seed snails made up and go from there. Okay, so it has been 6 days since we rolled up our peppers here in the seedling snails, and as you can see, everything is looking really happy. I got them set up in a southeast facing window here, and they're getting lots of sun in the morning and early afternoon. These are all the ones that I left in the solo cups. Everything is looking really happy. So I'm really excited, hoping that this method is going to be my new way of uppotting seedlings and a great space saver. So I will be bottom watering into this tray, keeping these moist, and start feeding them a little bit of fertilizer in the next couple weeks just to get them really going, get them ready and strong for the outdoor season. I'm going to be trying this method with tomatoes today, so if you want to keep watching how the seedling snail versus solo cups is going here in my indoor gardening, then be sure to subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.